Folks, the 2024 Sharks draft class might be pretty good.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're finishing up our kind of prospect recap for their seasons by looking at the San Jose Sharks 2024 draft class, which of course was headlined by Macklin Celebrini. Spoiler, it's looking really good, guys. So we're going to be talking about Celebrini, Sam Dickinson, Chernyshov, the whole gang, kind of how we've done with all these guys of reviewing this season, then kind of what is expected for the upcoming season with them. So let's get started with Macklin Celebrini, who turns out might be really good. Really, honestly, it makes the whole 2023-2024 season worth it. Just having Macklin Celebrini in your franchise for hopefully the next 20 years, right? Celebrini this year, of course, the first overall pick, signed after rookie training camp, came in, missed some time part of the season, but after that was absolutely electric for San Jose. Played 70 games in total, 25 goals, 38 assists, 236 shots on goal, while averaging a whopping 1947 time on ice a night. Corsi for, so when he was on the ice, the Sharks took 48.7 shot attempts, goals for 44%. And yeah, I mean, Macklin Celebrini, I think it's safe to say had a better than what I expected for him as a rookie season, right? He was absolutely electric, and provide him and Will Smith, who we talked about last week as well, provided just a jolt of energy to this franchise, which desperately needed it, especially after the 23-24 season. And yes, I know the Sharks didn't improve very much in the standings, but as the great Bill Parcells once said, right, this is why you lift all those weights. This is why you lost all those games to get Celebrini. And this kid, what he does in all three zones and the impact that he has in all three zones, you can see why. I mean, right, the future is teal. The future is teal. This dude right here is the main reason why this future is still. And yes, Will Smith's going to be awesome, and Askarov is going to be awesome, and Chernyshov and Dickinson and everybody else that we were going to talk, like we feel like are going to be huge parts and huge core pieces for the. But Celebrini's the centerpiece. He is the guy. He's what's going to. Everything is going to fit around what he does and his skill sets. And again, just like what is there else to say about him? I'm going to keep talking about Celebrini for like next 7 minutes, but just again, the way he impacts in all three zones, and as an 18, played the entire season as an 18-year-old, doesn't turn 19 for another 2 weeks here, right? But right in the defensive zone, like you see just how he gets it already, the plays he makes, and yes, he had his rookie mistakes, which you would expect. Again, he's 18, but the way he plays in the defensive way, the way he carries the puck in the neutral zone, and the way he just makes everybody else around him better. But that dog on the bone, never say die mentality that he has. And right, you watch the Florida Panthers, and they're a very good team. But, they're led by their Matthew Tkachuk's and their Barkovs and completely different players, right? But they all kind of share that intensity, the physicality, which Celebrini, not the biggest dude, but he brings it physically, especially for again, someone his age and size. And you can see the path to where Celebrini is going to kind of end up like one of those guys, right? And and the hope, the ultimate hope, the super high ceiling hope is Sidney Crosby 2.0, right? And that's always been the comp for him is right, Sidney Crosby Jr. And Sidney Crosby is a generational player. And if we get, if you're in the same ballpark as Sidney Crosby, like Celebrini is going to be 100% a hit. But even at the Worlds, right? Our good friend Stephen Ellis, who has been on the show a bunch of times, right, wrote a great article about Celebrini and Sidney Crosby and just how these two just think the game and read the game so much differently. And Crosby, one of the greatest players to ever lace them up, right? And generational player. And how many guys you talk to who say like, yeah, I grew up watching Crosby and I'm trying to emulate Crosby. And we have what could be the closest thing in our hands here with Celebrini. But talking like he kind of broke down how these two guys have been played to get like playing on the same line, right? And Crosby's pushing 40 and Celebrini is 18, going to be 19 here in a couple of weeks. But just their ability to just know exactly what each other is going to do. And like that doesn't get taught. That's just, you have to like, that's just something, but like, yeah, back to the point of just what Celebrini is going to do to this. And I know it's a lot of expectations, right? But the kid's just built differently, and I think with his background, right, with his dad working in sports for as long as he has, and Celebrini, who's been around professional athletes for most of his life, and not just like any professional athletes, like, Draymond Green and Steph Curry and like some of, basketball royalty, basically, especially here in the Bay Area. I just think the kid's head, like he knows exactly what is expected of him. He expects everything of himself. And I think he is going to just continue to change the way that this franchise is. There's a saying, like certain players change the skyline of a city, right? Peyton Manning literally changed the skyline of Indianapolis because of what he did to that franchise, right? I mean, they literally built a new building for him. Celebrini I think he's going to be one of those guys who changes the skyline of San Jose, because what he's going to do to this franchise and what he's going to bring to this franchise and the players that they're drafting and developing around him and the players that are going to eventually want to come to play with him. The sky's the limit for this kid. And unfortunately, probably not going to win the Calder this year, which is as weird as it says. I just did this whole like 5-minute spiel on just how amazing Celebrini is. And, Lane Hutson's a great player, and Lane Hutson's more than deserving to be, recognized as the rookie of the year for what he has done. And it's going to be unfortunate, but if the Sharks called the Canadians and offered Celebrini for Hudson straight up, how quickly are the Canadians saying yes to that? And if the Canadians called the Sharks and offered Hudson for Celebrini straight up, how quickly does Mike Greer hang up the phone? Anyway, but yeah, Celebrini absolutely just better than expected. And it's only going to get better, guys. This could literally be the worst he ever is in his career until like he's in his decrepit, late 30s, the oldest man ever in sports, a phase of his career. But yeah, like I don't know how you can't be excited. Like that's why we're all so excited. It's because of what we saw from him and what he's going to provide for this franchise. So, and just think. I mean, yes, I know he played Worlds, but a full off season here, right? Doesn't have to train for the combine. Doesn't have to do the draft parade, right? Doesn't have to play rookie scrimmages. Isn't gonna have to go to a rookie tournament. Like Will Smith, spoiler: Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini don't need to go to the rookie tournament. Just a full off season to prepare for a full NHL season. Yeah, and Celebrini isn't going to be, tallying almost 100 games between all the extra stuff he had to do. Like should be ready to go for I'm excited. Can't wait. It's going to be fun. Cannot wait for this upcoming season. So we're going to talk about a guy who has a good chance to potentially play for the Sharks this upcoming season, and Sam Dickinson. We're going to talk about Chernyshov, who both tore up the OHL, and then who popped for some of the late round, mid to late round picks here. So we'll get to that in just 1 second. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Halliburton, pretty good. So if you just want to keep maybe picking Halliburton to do fun things for the Pacers, sounds like a great time. Or SGA in the finals here. If Halliburton versus SGA, that's going to be a fun potential matchup. So if you're new to FanDuel, it's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, guys, before we continue, talk about Dickinson, Chernyshov, the rest of the gang, do want to, of course, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't yet, perfect time to subscribe as we're gearing up for this offseason, right? As I've said, right, say the line, JD, $40 million in cap space and the number 2 pick overall. Plenty of great stuff coming to San Jose. Plus, you get to continue, celebrating. Pretty good himself. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. All right. Sam Dickinson, who's still actually playing right now because London is in the Memorial Cup, also might be pretty good. The 11th overall pick in the draft, Sam Dickinson played 55 games for London, had 29 goals, 62 assists with 245 shots on goal. Was named the OHL Defenseman of the Year over Zane Parekh, putting that out there, who did go in front of him. Dickinson playing like 30 minutes a night for London in every possible situation, has been an absolute monster for the London this year. And yes, the regular season, like Dickinson, you saw him kind of have some questionable decision making, right? And especially when he's under pressure, he would make some decisions. But in the playoffs, he has found another gear where he has been asked to shut down some massive players. You look at when they beat Oshawa, Beckett Seneca, who was the 3rd pick in this draft, he shut down Beckett Seneca, who just had like a massive, massive season in the OHL, where Seneca scored like 45 goals or something like that. Seneca did not have time and space because of Sam Dickinson. And watching him in the playoffs and watching him in the Memorial Cup, I think he's ready, guys. And he's in that tough situation, right, where he's just like Quentin Musty, right, where he's too young to play in the AHL next year. He's already signed his ELC, so he can't go to college. And it's basically in NHL or bust for Dickinson, right? It's either NHL or he has to go back and play another season in the OHL. I think he's right. I think if he goes back to the OHL, I think it's a waste. To be honest, I think he would more than likely develop bad habits, and we're going to explore this later on this summer. But I think for Dickinson, you have to at least give him an extended look in the NHL next year, because I think the kid's more than ready, and we're never going to know if he can handle NHL pressure until he gets out there and tries it, right? And if he gets out there and he plays his 8 or 9 games and you realize he is just sinking and flailing, and you send him back to the OHL. Have a good season. We'll see at the end when you come play with the Barracuda when your season's over. Just, if not, cool, man. You have a 19-year-old defenseman in the NHL next year, and you can continue to build this thing up. So, Dickinson has been so fun to watch this year, and the skill set and the size and the physicality and everything, just a total package. Like, it does remind me a lot of Brent Burns. And Brent Burns, there's a lot of good, and there's sometimes those brain fart plays. I think you're going to get that with Dickinson as well, but I think you're going to get 9 times out of 10, you're going to get good stuff out of him, and you're just going to live with some of the dumb plays occasionally. So, Igor Chernyshov doesn't have the same issues that Dickinson has of where he's going to play next year. We know where Chernyshov is going to play. But this year, after missing the first half of the season with shoulder injury and still recovering from his sunburn, that's a joke. Chernyshov played 23 games in the OHL with Saginaw, playing on Michael Misa's line. He put up a very casual 19 goals and 36 assists for 55 points in 23 games with 85 shots on goal. The man is efficient, Russian machine efficiency. After his season was done, he got to play with the Barracuda. He played 3 games, including the playoffs. Very small sample size. He had 1 goal, 1 assist, and 4 shots on goal. Chernyshov, 1,000,000% is going to be starting the season on the Barracuda next year, and should be a huge part of what the Barracuda do. Is there a chance he could maybe crack the NHL lineup? Potentially, especially because a guy who has played, half a season in the KHL, he's at least gotten a taste of playing against professionals before. I still think, though, what's best for Chernyshov is to play the entire season in the AHL, right? And because I do think this Barracuda team, and yes, they're going to lose some pieces, right? You're going to have to find, hopefully either have one of the goalies step up or maybe find a suitable replacement for Askarov with the Barracuda. But I do think this Barracuda team is still going to be really, really good. Hopefully Podorowski returns. But right, you're going to have Musty, you're going to have Kasper Holtonen, you're going to have Chernyshov, Cagnoni in year 2. Like, there's a lot of talent on this team. And I think what we saw this year was just kind of scratching the surface of what to expect from the Barracuda over the next couple seasons. But with Chernyshov's case, right, for him, I think it's just continuing to get comfortable, getting used to the pace of play against, especially here in North America and now against professionals. But he's big. He's not afraid to go to the net. Like, that's how he scored his goal, was, crashing the net. He's efficient. He's a great playmaker. And I think he's going to round out and be a really, really great top 6 option for the Sharks here. So walking away with this draft of getting Macklin, like, if you told me, right, Macklin Celebrini is going to be, a potential Hall of Fame caliber player. And yes, that's a lot of expectations to put on the first overall pick. But after this season, right, and what I literally just spent 10 minutes talking about, if you told me, like, hey, Celebrini's going to be amazing, going to live to all your expectations, and that's it, you're going to be like, cool, this draft class is a win. But then you get to tack on Dickinson, who looks like Brent Burns 2.0. And then you potentially have Chernyshov, as your first 3 picks. Like, Mike, no matter what else happens, if those guys turn out to what we expect these guys to be, no matter what else happens with the rest of the guys we talk about, this home run is 1,000,000%. Like, this draft is just Mike Greer crushed this draft. Crushed this draft with this, at least with these first 3 picks. And again, whatever else you get, that's all just icing on the cake, cherry on top, sprinkles, however you like to fluff up your desserts. That's what the rest of this draft is. So we're going to look at the icing, sprinkles, cherries here in just 1 second. All right, before we finish up, do of course want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night, until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, we're going to kind of go a little rapid fire on some of these guys here. Next guy in the draft was Elias Wallenius. We did like a whole episode on him when he got signed his ELC. So you can if you want like a deeper dive on him, we can go into that episode. I spent a good 20 minutes talking about him. But we'll quickly kind of go through his numbers here. So Wallenius played for 4 teams this year. He started in the J20 league in 8 games. He had 3 goals, 11 assists there. Then went up. He also went over to TPS and Liga, where he played 7 games, had a goal, 2 assists, 23 shots on goal. Played with the Vaho Lakers in the SHL. We played 16 games, had 1 goal, 4 assists, and 17 shots on goal. The 1 goal is absolutely hilarious. Go check it out. And then in the Hockey Allsvenskan, where he got loaned, he had 14 games, 1 goal, 5 assists with 23 shots on goal. Wallenius did sign his ELC, so there's a chance he could be in North America, but I think he is most likely heading back to Sweden to play at least 1 more season over there. So, I think he's got his 1 more year on his SHL contract, or so. That's my guess, is he probably goes back and plays 1 more season in the SHL before coming over. But he's in play. We'll just say he's in play to be in North America next year. So 3rd round pick, Carson Wetch, who played this season with Calgary in the WHL. He was their captain, played 68 games, 33 goals, 20 assists with 236 shots on goal. Was actually traded this offseason, which will be a kind of a running theme for some of these guys here. So he was actually traded to Kelowna, who's hosting the Memorial Cup next year. So they're kind of gearing up to make a run, at least be competitive, right? So Wetch is, he's not the flashiest player, but he's a consistent player, right? And that's going to be his calling card, is just kind of coming to work. The goal scoring, it's like not a lot of flat, like it's not like he's going to be scoring, a hat trick one night and then not score like for the next like 4 games. He's like, I'm going to score, every 2 games. I'm going to score every 2 games. I'm going to score every 2, like just a consistency with his scoring. So it'll be interesting to see his transition over there again with this Kelowna team that's going to be trying to gear up for a Memorial Cup run as the host city, and kind of where he fits in with that. But you would expect if he's playing on a really good team next year, he should be able to potentially, pot some more goals for them. And he does bring that nastiness. He does kind of bring that edge that, the Sharks will be looking for, especially like in the bottom 6 here. So, pretty solid season though. That just that consistency, that's what you love to see, right? Next, goalie, Kristen Kirch. So he's played in 2 leagues. He played in the NAHL, which is the league below the USHL. Played the majority of the time there on the Janesville Jets. 24 games, 316 goals against, 912 save percentage with 8 wins. Not a great team there. Also played with the Green Bay Gamblers in the USHL. Not great numbers. Spoiler: 3 games, 509 goals against, 842 save percentage. And yes, he was actually traded to the Chicago Steel. If you don't know the Chicago Steel, perennial kind of powerhouse in the USHL. Macklin Celebrini played there. I know they have a huge commitment from somebody else. It's a Canadian player who's going to be coming down to play there. So I would expect him to have. I would expect this year to be a much different year for Kirch, who will probably get some more run with Chicago. And then, of course, he will be going to college Where's he going to college at? I'm pulling it up right now. So yeah, he's also going to be heading over to University of Massachusetts in the 26-27 season. So with these goalies, right, like do not panic, right? These guys, they take a long time to develop, and you're you guys know, right? Some of the surroundings and who you're playing for and playing with. Expect a much better season with Chicago this year. So that's the hope anyway. So next guy, we have Nate Roberts, 5th round pick, playing with the Vancouver Giants. 36 games, 6 goals, 30 assists with 98 shots on goal. Roberts, big defensive, kind of going to be a shutdown type of player. From the games I saw from him, like I thought he definitely fits that role. Going to be back next year with Vancouver, and I think Vancouver is kind of a team that continued to improve. They have Cameron Schmidt, who's projected to be a potential 1st round pick this year. I do think they made the 1st round. I think they just went through the 1st round of the playoffs. So he should continue to have a big role for Vancouver next season as well. Then we have Nate Miskey. Miskey, also 5th round pick, was an overager. Played for Victoria this season in the WHL. 63 games, 10 goals, 37 assists, 125 shots on goal. You saw much more offense from Miskey at the beginning of the season, but his role kind of diminished as some of their young defensemen. They've got a guy who's going to be like a top 5 or top 10 pick next year in Victoria, which I'm totally blanking on his name right now. What's his name? Verhoff. Like Keaton Verhoff is going to be like projected like top 10 pick next year. And if you're looking for a defenseman next year for the Sharks, that's a name to potentially circle right there. Because that kid is ridiculous. He's 6'4", 16 years old. He turns 17 here, like in the middle of June. Right-handed, 6'4", 212-pound right-handed defenseman. He's pretty good. But anyway, Miskey, though, he's going to be one of the players that's now that he's done with his WHL career since he was an overager, he's going to be going to college to play with UMass OL. That's a pretty good program. So good opportunity for him to kind of play over there for a couple, maybe a season or two before making the jump to professional hockey. So I'm excited for him to kind of be one of these transition players. Because I do think there is some talent there for him to slide into like a really high-end AHL role or potential kind of 5th or 6th defenseman for the Sharks down the line. So kind of more of a shutdown guy who's got maybe a little bit of offensive pop, but that's probably where he ends up sliding. So and then finally goalie. So Yaroslav Kortsalov. I butchered that. I'm sorry, buddy. 7th round pick, playing over the MHL. So that's basically right. You have the KHL, which is the NHL version of Russian hockey. You have the VHL, which is like the AHL version of Russian hockey, and then MHL, which is like the CHL or your version of hockey. So the junior version. Ridiculous numbers over there. 27 games, 153 goals against average, 936 save percentage, 20 wins in 27 games with 4 shutouts. Again, with some of these numbers, right? We talked about Kirch. His numbers weren't good because his team were good. SKA is one of the premier teams over there where they get all the best talent, right? It's one of those things. So yes, the numbers are going to be very, very good, but the development's also going to be very, very good as well. So looking at these late round guys, you can see some paths for guys I think Carson Wetch, you definitely see kind of like an Ozzy Weisblatt type of role, but much bigger guy, I think much more physical, and also not a 1st round pick. you can see, for like Miskey and Roberts kind of coming in, being those like kind of shut down defensive, kind of bottom pairing defensemen. Like they're, Leo Saleh and Wallenius, it was a second round pick, but unfortunately, just again, when you have Dickinson and Chernyshov and Celebrini to talk about, you kind of get bumped down a little bit. And again, I just did like 20 minutes on Leo Saleh and Wallenius not too long ago. Like that's a guy who I'm really interested to see if just staying in one place for a full season will do for his development as well. So, but yeah, that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back next week as we'll continue to look at free agency and we'll look at trade options and plenty of fun stuff. I think we're going to be looking at the kind of the potential, the trade big board early next week. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until next week, bye, friends.